Let's talk about that latest Obama speech, the one that he's made since the election. He said there's going to be times when one side stacks the deck to try and get a permanent grip on power, either by suppressing votes, politicizing the military, using the judicial system to go after their opponents. What does this mean? There's something coming, there's something going on. Let's take a look and see what the cards have to say. So I'm not tapping into Obama's energy here. All I'm doing is just seeing what's coming. There feels to be something coming. This is the reason I don't tap into energy. I don't tap into everybody's energy, so I don't open up to that. So here we go, and this is also related to why I'm not allowed, chains forbidden, not allowed to tap into that energy. So that's been locked out. So let me just phrase this a different way. Is there going to be martial law? So I'm going to read with both of my decks. Is there going to be one side that politicizes the military? I take that as martial law. May not be, may be something else. So let's phrase it the way it was said. Is there going to be one side that politicizes the military? The cards are saying is that they're trying to bring down the fall. One side is trying to bring down the fall of the other side. That is just a distraction. So if there is a military or martial law, or if there is something around the military, it's actually just a distraction. Now, it could just be what is being said is actually just the distraction as well. There is somebody is being sacrificed. This is the Hangman. So somebody being leveraged and sacrificed, their influence will be exposed. So somebody very influential is going to be exposed. They're going to be sacrificed and leveraged in some way. Patience, because that's going to take some time to see that part. So if we're seeing, what we're seeing here is that there is going to be a fall. They're planning a fall of some sort, but what they're saying is just a distraction. Let me break that down a little bit more and get a little bit more practical with this. So I don't want to speak in code in any way. I want to try and make this as clear as possible. Is there going to be one side that politicizes the military to get a grip on power? Here it's got somebody resigning or leaving office, or trying to get somebody to resign and leave office. There may be somebody that's going to be coerced or manipulated in some way. Something about them will be recorded or surveilled, but it will be a manipulation. Here it is saying social media. Now this here I said about getting a grip on power is related to the ban of TikTok that's coming in January. So that social media we're talking about. So there's going to be a way of getting a grip on power is connected to social media. So whether that's the TikTok ban or X, I think it's called. Okay, so somebody is going to be recorded. There's going to be some kind of surveillance, and somebody is manipulated in some way because of that and forced to resign and leave office. Okay, who is this? This is coming. They get manipulated. It's recorded. It forces them to leave office. Who is this? I mean, this could just be somebody that I don't know the name of. It could just be somebody in a minor role and that I don't know who this is. Okay, all about the money. Now this is giving me vibes about what this is giving me is almost blackmail, like to get control of somebody in the opposition is what they're showing me. Using cameras or footage to leak or spread compromising information about their business dealings. Could also be a business tycoon and somehow connected to the farming or pharmaceutical industry. So what it giving me the sense, because further in that speech they were talking about allies in the opposition, so other people in the opposition party that are kind of like allies. Now all those cards that just fell out to me look like somebody being a forced or coerced ally. Okay, an explosive situation is coming. Okay, and a heat wave, so things heating up around AI tech. So this could be Elon Musk, given the industry, or something around an explosive situation. Things get heated up around the AI industry, AI technology, Elon Musk. The other part of that was somebody using a good outcome, it says. So there's a good outcome there. So somebody, it says here that they may use the legal system to bring down the opponents. Kind of sounds like what I just said with those cards. It's interesting. What else can you tell me about that? What else can you tell me about using the legal system to bring down an opponent? So looking for a solution to the problem. So they're looking for somebody that's got a supporting role. Like I said, I feel like it's somebody that's like more of a minor role, a supporting role. So that's what they're looking as a solution to this issue. Being almost like a trader, almost like somebody feeding information to the other side. Change is coming. Okay, so change is coming. It says here, war and battleship. Here, change is coming, war and battleship. No was the answer to my question that I just asked. So no, there's nothing else further that they're going to tell me, because they started moving me on in a direction. I was thinking, what is coming? Is there going to be something else coming that stops Trump from getting in, to prevent this from happening? So I'm just... It says changes are coming, or from making changes, making all of these changes. So what is the next? And then just take note of the cards that are on the table. What is the next? What is being planned? I feel like there's something being planned. What is being planned here? Escalating tension. Bringing in energy, the cards that are on the table before I read them further with this rebellion and rescue energy here is giving me the energy of what's going on right now with the Middle East. So prisoners are released from northern Syria as the rebels claim control. So this is what is happening. You can see all these cards actually here on the thing. We've got control, we've got rebels, we've got rescues, because there was prisoners or hostages taken and rescued. So you've got all of these cards on the table for things that are actually playing out right now, but it's saying tension is going to escalate. So because of damages and consequences to damages. Okay, so what is happening right now, whether that is to do with the prisoners that have been released, or whether that's to do with what is going on now with the rebels claiming control here and the prisoners being released, that has consequences is what it's saying here. There's consequences for those actions. It's actually preparing. One side is preparing for a harmful situation. It says compromised or harmful. So there's preparing for consequences, a harmful situation, tension escalating here. Damages have already been done. But I find this really, and there's down here it says darkness or outage. I wonder if that's to do with getting them out, or this is coming. So what I feel like there was something coming, and it's all connected to both the speech that was said, the Obama speech, against what's happening now with this situation, because I was actually going to pull cards today on the prisoners being released here in northern Syria. So I was going to do a separate reading on that, but I feel somehow, for some reason, there's a connection. I don't know what the connection is, but I feel that there's a connection here. But it also says here that preparations are in place right now. Situation could get harmful and tension could escalate here, related to consequences for what has just happened, what's happening today with the prisoners being released in northern Syria as the rebels do claim control. So, but isn't it interesting that all of these cards are on the table? The control, the rebellion, the rescue here. Tension's going to escalate for damage done or consequences of actions. A situation in being planned or prepared, or they're preparing for a harmful situation that comes about from this. So very interesting, because I was actually reading on today's reading was about the Obama speech, and I feel like something was coming. There's something coming around this energy, and then these cards fall out. And as soon as I saw those cards on the table with the rescue and the rebellion, I thought that sounds like what has actually happened today. So linking it back to the reading that I'm actually doing right now, I don't think they're separate readings. I think they're the same reading. I think it's somehow connected to plans in motion, plans for a certain reason. Now, on the bottom of the deck here, let me show you that, is imprisoned or detained. Now, was it prisoners that's been released? On the bottom of the deck here. Really interesting how these cards are coming out like that. Sinking ship, also very interesting, because that happened in the predictions pretty much straight away. Beautiful deck. I love this deck, and how accurate and on to world events this deck actually is. So let's just see what the next move is. What's the next plan? What have you got to say about this situation? What is coming up next? Very interesting cards on the table. Down on the bottom of the deck, it says that there's planning involved, planning and strategy involved. Energy weapon is underneath that. Now, getting into this reading, I feel like we come full circle back to the start of this reading, where I said one side will try to stack the deck to claim permanent power. And then here we go, holding power, coming back in here. So it's like the readings come full circle back to the original question. Here is about holding the power. Who permanently holds the power? How are they permanently going to hold the power? And which side are we actually talking about here as well? We're talking here somehow about foreign occupation or foreign involvement here. Could also be, there's quite a few things on the table here right now as the next move and what's coming up. It says what's playing out in mainstream news versus what's playing out on social media. Now, they are trying to ban social media. So just so we listen only to mainstream news, it's trying to ban okay, I want to say opponent's position, but when I'm talking about opponents, I'm talking about regular people versus the elites. So I'm talking about the news that comes into fed from the elites versus the news that come in fed from the people. Again, that falls in line with that rebellion card as well. So what I'm trying to pull in here and what I'm trying to explain here is that there's something going on around how do you gain permanent holding of power, permanent control, stacking the deck so that you have permanent power. Part of that is not just about who's in the rulership. Part of that comes down to how you rule the people. And here it's saying mainstream news versus social media news. So it's ruled by what you want to tell people in the mainstream news, and that's all they've got to believe in, versus what comes out on TikTok, because TikTok seems to be the one that wants to spill the tea or spill the truth on what's really going on, and it comes from the people. So here, this is what they're trying to get a control of, especially since they're banning social media. So it too is also tied up in the original question that I asked about who is holding power and how do you get to hang on to permanent power. It's all part of this reading here right now. Now we've got some foreign occupation, trains and transport always coming up also. Trains and transport to me is trafficking or people transportation. So this could be related to border crossing the borders, people being sent back, people coming in. So, or as I said, it's the transportation of people from foreign lands into America or out of America into foreign lands. So one of those two. It's either people leaving America because they're worried about who's holding power. There's a lot in this reading. There's a lot going on right here. And I bet if you look, you'll find more, because there's a lot going on just in this spread. So just from where I'm saying, I'm talking about did people, and it came out in the readings for this month as well, about the transportation of, or people going into underground hiding, or people going into hiding because of who's in power, and exportation, is that where you export somebody, or people being sent back. But here I'm seeing it's either people leaving America because of they're worried about who is in power, which is also happening, or there's actually behind the scenes plans to transport people out of America back into foreign lands. So one of those two things has happened, and it's the same thing, but it's either happening for one or two reasons, whether that is immigrants being sent back, or whether that is people panicking and leaving America and being sent out into foreign, or leaving and going to foreign grounds. So that's really interesting as to what's happening, but it all involves who was holding power and who's in power. And the original question being, how do you get control of permanent power here? And so it's all to do with foreign occupation, what is going on in foreign lands, and there's been a big one today. So there's maybe the foreign occupation, or the things that go on in foreign lands, being the Middle East and things like that, actually affect. It's a planned outcome. It's a planned outcome to distract us. That's one of their biggest tools or weapons, is distraction of the people. Now, while I'm talking about this opposition sides, where in the initial speech, the initial question, it was more about political opponents, this feels to be more opponents against the elite versus the regular people. The regular people are the opponents. That's actually what I'm pulling out of this reading right now. So very strange. There's a lot going on right here just in this spread. There is a planned outcome, though, to bring the mainstream more of a pedestal. That's never going to happen. People have gone too far now into not listening to mainstream news, but that's the way that they hold power and control, is through the mainstream news. So there's a planned outcome coming for that. Now, whether that's related to foreign occupation, things that are going on in foreign lands, whether they do something to distract us, whether they do something to put the fear of God into us. So it's that distracts us in some way. Now, the one little card down the bottom that, again, I'm not talking about, and it's come up for the second time, it's the farming industry or the pharmaceutical industry. And why I call it the pharmaceutical industry is because I was reading this card a couple of weeks ago, and I accidentally said pharmaceutical industry when I was trying to say farming industry. So now I know that this sometimes can mean pharmaceutical industry as well. So there is a lot coming up. There's lots coming up, and I feel it. I feel there's something big coming, something really big coming out and being planned. These cards are saying it. Yes, there is a planned outcome. Yes, there is strategic planning already in motion. Now, it somehow relates to transportation of people, foreign occupation or foreign lands. Could be a drone strike as well. Those drone strikes could be on the cards as well, related to who's holding power or trying to get permanent power. And down here we're talking about different industries, and we're talking about planned outcomes, and we're talking about cracking down on social media. So thank you for watching this very quick reading. It just went in a direction I was completely not expecting. Much lighter reading than the last. I just did the Jump and A reading, so that was quite intense. So this one here is just a little bit lighter, even though it does feel like there's some really intense energies in the world right now, and there's something big about to happen. I still haven't quite put my finger on it. I know there's something coming. I'm just trying to get my finger on it. So I'm trying different angles to look at the situation to see what's happening. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.